The baby's cry cut through the airplane cabin like a siren, sharp, desperate, unstoppable. Passengers shifted, sighed, and stared. The single dad holding her was already breaking inside when a man in a crisp Navy uniform stood up from first class. His shoulders were heavy with medals, his face calm but unreadable. No one knew that within minutes this stranger would make a decision so unexpected, so deeply human, that it would change the life of that exhausted father forever, and leave the entire plane silent. In awe, the crying started before the plane even finished boarding. At first, it was a soft whimper, the kind that promises sleep if you just rock a little longer. But within minutes, it turned into full, aching sobs, raw and relentless, the kind that tells the world something is wrong, and no amount of whispered comfort will fix it. Ethan Carter stood in the narrow airplane aisle, gently bouncing his 6-month-old daughter, Lily, against his chest. His arms ached. His shirt was wrinkled and faintly smelled of industrial cleaner, the scent that followed him everywhere from his job as a night shift janitor at a public high school. "I'm sorry," he whispered to no one in particular as heads turned. "I'm really sorry." Some passengers offered tight smiles. Others didn't bother hiding their irritation. A woman 2 rows back muttered something about irresponsible parents. A man near the window pulled his headphones tighter, shaking his head. Ethan's face burned. This was already the hardest thing he'd done in years, flying alone with Lily for the first time. He was taking her across the country to meet her grandmother, the only family he had left who still believed he was doing his best. Ethan hadn't planned on becoming a single father. Lily's mother had left shortly after the birth, overwhelmed and unable to cope. One morning, she packed a bag, kissed Lily's forehead, and walked out. The note she left said only, "I'm sorry. I can't do this." So Ethan did. He worked nights, slept in broken pieces, and learned how to warm bottles with one hand while holding a mop with the other. He learned to smile at Lily even when his bank account showed numbers that scared him. He learned to swallow pride daily. But nothing prepared him for this moment, standing trapped in a metal tube at 30,000 feet, feeling judged by strangers while his baby screamed. The flight attendant approached gently. "Sir, would you like some help?" Ethan nodded quickly, his voice cracking. I've tried everything. Bottle, pacifier, walking. I think it's the pressure. I don't know what to do." Before she could respond, a movement from the front of the cabin drew attention. A tall man stood up from a first-class seat. His posture was straight, disciplined, unmistakable. His dark navy dress uniform was immaculate, medals catching the overhead light. Silver hair framed a face lined with years of responsibility. A Navy Admiral. The cabin went quiet, not because Lily stopped crying, but because everyone noticed him. The Admiral looked at Ethan, then at Lily, her tiny fists clenched, face red with distress. His eyes softened. "May I?" he asked calmly. Ethan froze. What? "I have experience with frightened souls," the Admiral said gently. "Some very small ones." Ethan hesitated. Every instinct screamed, "Don't hand your baby to a stranger." But something in the man's voice, steady, respectful, sincere, made him pause. With trembling arms, Ethan handed Lily over. The Admiral cradled her with surprising tenderness, adjusting her position slightly, humming a low, rhythmic tune. It wasn't loud, it wasn't fancy, it was steady, confident, and warm. Within seconds, Lily's cries softened, then stopped. The silence was shocking. Passengers stared, mouths slightly open. The Admiral continued to rock gently, whispering something only Lily could hear. Ethan covered his mouth as tears spilled down his face, not from embarrassment this time, but relief. Pure, overwhelming relief. The Admiral looked at him and said quietly, "You're doing better than you think." Those words hit Ethan harder than any judgment ever had. But the unthinkable wasn't over yet. The rest of the flight passed in a strange, peaceful calm. Lily slept in the Admiral's arms for nearly an hour. When she stirred, he carefully handed her back, ensuring her ears were comfortable and her blanket tucked just right. As he returned to his seat, Ethan gathered the courage to speak. "Sir, thank you. I don't even know how to." The Admiral raised a hand. "Sit with me," he said. "We'll talk." Ethan hesitated. First class felt like another world. Wide seats, quiet luxury, a place meant for people who had their lives together. Not janitors with tired eyes and second-hand clothes, but the Admiral insisted. As they sat, Ethan shared more than he meant to. About the nights scrubbing floors while Lily slept in a borrowed crib in the break room. About missing meals to afford diapers. About the constant fear of not being enough. The Admiral listened, truly listened. When Ethan finished, the Admiral leaned back and said something Ethan would never forget. "I've commanded thousands of sailors," he said. "I've stood in war rooms and made decisions that affected nations. But I'll tell you this, nothing I've done required the courage you show every day." Ethan shook his head. "I just clean floors." The Admiral smiled. "No, you raise a child, alone with love. That's leadership." As the plane began its descent, the Admiral reached into his jacket and handed Ethan a small card. "My contact information," he said. "And a promise," Ethan asked. "There are programs, scholarships, support networks for families like yours. I can help connect you. No charity, just opportunity." Ethan's hands trembled as he accepted the card. After landing, passengers stopped Ethan in the aisle. The same people who had frowned earlier now smiled warmly. "You're a great dad," one said quietly. As Ethan walked through the terminal with Lily asleep against his chest, he felt something new rise inside him. Not pride, not relief, but hope. Weeks later, that hope became real. With the Admiral's help, Ethan enrolled in a facilities management certification program. It paid better, offered benefits, stability. He moved into a small but clean apartment. Lily got her own room. Years later, at Lily's elementary school assembly, Ethan sat in the front row wearing a pressed shirt. His janitor days now a chapter, not a definition. A familiar, silver-haired man sat beside him, applauding as Lily received an award for kindness. The Admiral leaned over and whispered, "See, you always had it in you." Ethan smiled, eyes wet, understanding at last. Sometimes the loudest cries don't come from babies. And sometimes the strongest heroes are the ones who just keep showing up. One sleepless night, one quiet sacrifice, one unexpected act of kindness at a time.